Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Megan, and before we even dive into anything, happy 2023! I hope you all had a happy and safe New Year's and you're looking forward to all the good things that 2023 has to offer. I just wanted to jump on here and say thanks for all of your support in 2022. Thank you for watching my videos, liking, commenting. It's been really nice that people are actually watching the things that I'm posting, so that's great. So here's to more videos in 2023. I don't look to be doing anything a little different this year. I mean, I might change my mind later on, but for now, things are going to be as consistent as they have been and the same type of videos that you've been seeing from me. So continue to see those kind of videos from me. So with that, I'm back again today with a Stephen King project update, the project that I have going on where I read every single Stephen King book in chronological order, one chapter at a time. Today we're going to be talking about the book Danse Macabre, which I think I pronounced it wrong in my last video, but that's fine. Who cares? So I've spent the last September, October, November, December, 4 months, I had to really count that out, last 4 months, reading Stephen King's nonfiction, essay-like, not essay, textbook, I mean essay works too, but essay, textbook-like book about his thoughts on the horror genre. Now, I don't have too much to say about this, so that I'm hoping to keep this video kind of short, because unlike King, I don't want to be repetitive. This book, look how chunky it is. It's 500, is it 5? No, it's 400. It's 400 and about 38 pages of King, breaking down the horror genre from about 1950 to about 1980. And he talks about multiple aspects, formats, that's what I'm looking for. Multiple formats of the genre. So he started with movies, then kind of trickled away from movies, kind of came back to movies, then he talked about horror on the radio, which actually was a very interesting read, because I've never thought about horror on the radio, because, I mean, we do it now in podcast format, but it was just like, oh yeah, like, that must be really, like, something really shaking to, like, listen to, because you can't see what's happening, you just hear sounds and you have only your imagination to go by, so that actually makes it a lot more creepier than when you're actually visually seeing it in a movie. So I thought that was actually a really interesting take that he had to offer. And then he had a very long chapter on fiction and books. And I mean, like I say, it was a good read. I mean, it wasn't bad. I ended up rating this 3 stars because this could have been a lot shorter than it actually really is. And I can't wait to get back to his fiction writing, because his nonfiction writing is tedious to get through. I mean, sometimes his fiction writing can be very tedious to get through. This was even worse. So it was like, okay, get to the point. He would talk about something and then he kind of gallivant about something else, and then he would kind of come back to the point, and I'm like, you could have said that in a lot less words. Come on, where's your editor, like, cutting out all those extra words, because you really didn't need all of that. But once you kind of wade through a lot of it, there actually are some really good things that he talks about and that are interesting. And if you're a really big fan of horror and of the genre, I mean, you'd probably find that it'd be really interesting to read. I mean, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who is a casual horror fan or a casual King fan, because you are going to be very, very bored. Also, even if you haven't seen seen or read something that he mentions, he goes into extreme detail, so much so that he basically rewrites the whole premise of some of the movies and or books and or short stories that he talks about. That, one, it's great. You don't have to actually go out and read it for yourself. You can just have him summarize it for you. But two, if you haven't read it and if you have read it, that would suck, because then you're weaving through things you've already read. But I mean, even if you haven't read it, I haven't read any of the books that he talked about, and I haven't watched any of the movies. I mean, maybe there was a few that I've watched. Like, I know I watched Psycho years ago, but I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time to remember it in the detail that he goes into it in here. So, it was really hard just to, I'm like, okay, when's this gonna end? When's this synopsis gonna end? Oh my goodness. So that was a bit hard to get through. But I mean, like I say, it was interesting to I mean, not hear, but read his thoughts on his take of the genre and kind of like and like you kind of get a feel like of where he kind of feels he himself fits into the genre. I mean, at this point when he wrote this, he was only maybe 5 novels deep, so he wasn't like, I mean, he was a best-selling author at that time, but he wasn't he didn't have as much prolific best-selling author name that he has now. So it was interesting to read where he kind of saw himself at that time, because this was released in 1980, so it was really interesting to read that. So that's kind of my mini synopsis on this one. Like I say, I rated it 3 stars. I will not be ever reading this again. But what I do find really interesting and what I found really helpful is in the back, he has a list of films that not only he talked about, but that he recommends as like some of top tier horror films to watch. So he's got horror, and he's got movies, and he's got books. There's also a list of books in the back that if you want to read further or watch further, you may do so. So I actually like that, and I might actually go back to this book for that at a different time. I don't need any more projects to start. I mean, when I was reading this in October, and I was thinking, oh, like, spooky season is upon us. Maybe I should get to watching some spooky stuff. And I was gonna start going through this list and making, like, and actually watching some of the stuff, and then I went, I don't have time for another project. I can't do that. So, maybe one day when I have more time, and I want to, I can, because I have this book. So, those were my thoughts on this book. Next on my reading list, will be Creepshow. Now, this is a graphic novel. Yep. There are 5 stories in it. And so basically Creepshow is based off of, this graphic novel is actually based off of the film that was originally created in 1982. So actually I was reading the backstory before I filmed this, and I thought that King had wrote the screenplay for it. But I mean, he did, but it's also based on 2 of his short stories, and then he wrote more for it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm probably going to end up reading this in one go. But what's going to take me time to get through is there are 3 movies and a TV show that has 3 seasons and has been renewed for a 4th. So that's going to take me some time to get through, but I'm excited to get to this one because it looks like it's going to be fun and creepy. So that is all I have for you guys today. If you've read this, please let me know because I'd love to know your thoughts on it. But that is it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, a do your thing, and I will see you guys in my next video. So thanks, and